Everybody is here in this room because they've made a commitment to leading. The amount of progress that our man or woman experiences is directly correlated to the amount of truth they can withstand. Whether that's on your real estate teams and transaction volume, whether that's with building an organization, what you were doing that worked a year ago, 18 months ago, is it working now? Can you go take a listing at any price and it sells?
No.
Do you have to get price reductions now regularly?
Yeah.
Are offers coming in less than the asking price?
Yeah.
The next 6 months, the next 18 months, is your business and your lead sources set up for that environment? All the praying to the real estate gods isn't gonna help you. So what does that actually mean though? Like, I want you guys to understand, because Gabrielle said something which is cool. This is her first experience at an event like this. And she's like, bro, all the agents here are like super high level, super intelligent. And I'm like, yeah, because they all think like principals, not salespeople. Salespeople just sell something. You know what principals do? They build something, they own stuff. So we have to level up our thinking, yeah? So how is this gonna affect us long-term? Well, if our credit rating goes down, most people don't understand the way the economic system works. How do we fund everything in the United States? And it's not your taxes. Borrowing money.
They sell bonds.
How do we do that? We sell bonds. So if our credit rating goes down, what does that do to the percentage of interest we have to offer to people to buy our stuff? It goes up. So that means it affects the 10-year treasury note, which affects what? Mortgage rates. So independent of any propaganda that you see, yes? And independent of anybody screaming from the rooftops trying to get your attention, with a super high degree of probability, what does that mean? Rates will stay higher for longer. Yes? So I need to adapt to that. Remember, leaders don't panic, they pivot. These are historical charts, 30-year fixed mortgages. I don't know if, I want you guys to realize something. Like the last time, so we think like it's momentary and it's just like a blip. The last time rates were this high, they stayed that high for, 1990, right, to a decade. Let me ask you a question. Is your business set up for 7 more years of this environment? Is it set up for you to continue to grow and thrive? Do more deals, help more people, make more money. And then what we're seeing is this new model emerging for agents that are really highly productive and profitable. Now, this isn't theory. I didn't just read this in the book. What's percolating to the surface is all leads go into this funnel. Past clients, COI, your probate leads, and your cash offer leads. They all go into this funnel. And then what we start to do, which again, Jose and Abel are gonna speak to, is we start to create this creative division. Meaning, we start to offer different options and choices other than I'm just gonna list your home. Because whoever adds more value wins. And we're winners, yes, we like to win, okay? And it allows you to do deals that other people don't see. So Jessica, she shared with me, she's got a couple under contract right now, and one of the top agents in her marketplace, who does like 100 deals a year, met with a seller, said, I can't help you. I just can't. Walked away. Jessica walked in, offered her a sub-2 deal. It's under contract. Jessica's going to get paid, and they're happy.
Let's go, Liz.
Let's go. Hey, think about this. If your mind is blind to the possibility, your eyes will be blind to the opportunity. There will literally be money in front of you, an opportunity in front of you, and you just won't see it. Okay? And that leads to these other things like wholesales, novations, sub-2s, and flips, right? So this is this new model that's really percolating. And this is what it looks like. Look, the reason why we did this is I want you to conceptualize it. All of these leads are going into this funnel, right? Any deals that you're like, any lead sources, past clients, centers of influence, cash offers, probates, past, COI, they're all funneling here. And then what's happening is we get good at asking questions to find out what solution that they need. See, because we've been taught as agents very myopically we only have one solution, which is what? That's it. You know, we created a whole community, like a whole division of business, all these wholesalers and everything they do. They shouldn't exist. Do you understand that? People would prefer to deal with us. They trust us more. But we allowed it to happen because somebody's like, well, you just list the property. That's it. It's the only thing you could do. So we get really good at asking questions to find out solutions. And then we either offer them 1 or 2, and either one we don't care because in either one we get what? Paid, baby. Anybody besides me like to get paid? Yes. I don't know, that energy wasn't right. Anybody besides me like to get paid? Okay, good. Now, why is this emerging as like the way? Because the creative side, the margins are insane. So, Jose, for you, on average, on the creative side, what's the average like rip? Like
I think like flips, probably like 70, 80.
Yeah. And then what about wholesale?
Wholesale, maybe 20, 30.
20, 30. How about you, Abel?
Probably like 60 to 70 on the wholesale.
30 is the average. Average rip. Do you understand? The margins are wild. In order to execute on this, which again, Jose's gonna really talk about, You need to learn the exit, because the hard part isn't creating the lead. It's actually pretty easy. The hard part is understanding all the exits and all the different options that you have at your disposal. He's going to play a really cool game with you, and it'll be cool because it'll pain you in your stomach and in your being how much money you're leaving on the table. And that's what I want you to leave with, because what do you think people are more motivated by? Pain or pleasure? I want you to be so disgusted that I see you like asking for a throw-up bag because you see how much money you're leaving on the table. Yeah, here's a little video that me and Jose did about like cash offers, whatever, but like, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Here's what I want you to visualize these exit strategies. Oh, and Daniel, you came to Do More Deal Summit, yes? You heard Pace Morby speak, yes? You heard Jose speak, you heard me talk about this. And then you went down the path, which required some unlearning. And how many deals do you have under contract right now?
5 currently.
And how many are creative?
2.
And how much money are you gonna make on the creative ones?
Just under 50,000.
Just under 50,000 bucks. Yeah, but you're not calling expires, Daniel. Like, grow up. It's dumb. Here are the different exits, which again, I'll leave to Jose, but there's wholesale, novation, sub 2 flips, right? Different strategies that you have. Now, I think it's also important for us as principals, because yes, we are owners, yes? We think like owners, we act like owners, we behave like owners, to really understand what's happening on the brokerage side as well. Yeah? So what's happening on that side is that the margins have declined massively. In the last 50 years, company retained dollar to brokerages has gone down 50%. So 50 years ago, for every dollar came into a brokerage, they kept 50 cents. Now you know what it is? 5 cents, 8 cents. Me and Jose met with somebody, an operator, has 1,000 agents. You know what his profit margin was? 5%. As Jim Rohn would say, those are called the facts. It's the way it is. And in the last 15 years, again, it's declined to single digits. Now, what are the two biggest expenses for brokerage? Staff and space. Yes? 2 biggest expenses. Cloud-based solve for those problems. Because here's the interesting part. Are me and Jose and you guys, if you're with us at EXP, are you in the brokerage business?
No.
Here's what's interesting. You have the capacity to be. I have a team of 440 agents in 16 states. Am I in the brokerage business? I'm sorry? But do I have staff and space? Which makes it what? Profitable! Interesting. Yes? And by the way, do I have operational partners who run the whole thing?
Sure do.
How cool is that? Okay? So it's solved for that problem. Now look what's happening industry-wide. So I mean, no disrespect if you're here, we're just looking at this analytically to make decisions around it, right? So this has to do with operating cash flow. This comes from a guy named Michael Del Prete. If you ever like go online, read his stuff. Anybody read his stuff? Just me. Okay. Oh, well, Jessica. So it's really solid. He has no kind of dog in the fight. He doesn't own any stocks in companies. He doesn't represent a real estate company. He doesn't work for them. He just studies the data. And he does a really good way of like visualizing. So what this is operating cash flow. Operating cash flow means like what? Money that you can actually like do something with, pay bills with, right? Like cash. And this has to do with who's throwing off the most cash. Now let me ask you a question. If we were gonna like kind of do a diagnosis of a business, what would be the first thing we would look at?
Money in the bank.
Cash. Who's generating money? What's fascinating is if you look at who's generating the most. Cash flow. EXP. And then it goes down from here. Anywhere are like Douglas Elliman, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, all those. But look what's happening. All of their cash flow is, and this, by the way, was sold this year because they ran out of money. Oh yeah, yeah. A mortgage company bought it. Rocket bought it, right? So what are we in the process of watching?
Traditional brokerage.
Oh, how interesting. Yes, not because I said so, but because the numbers are telling us so. Right? Now I'm curious. Is this an opportunity for us? Why?
Because the market is shifting.
And they're all looking for someplace to go, yes? Something to take note of. Okay? So we're watching the traditional brokerage model shrink. Now, I don't think they're going to go away completely, because I'm curious. Can you still go to Macy's, JCPenney's? Yeah. Do you ever? No. Unless you have to, right? I remember there was a time in my life where I never thought I would buy a piece of clothing online, ever. How many people have done that within the last month? Look at the room. It's crazy. So we're watching it shrink. I think they'll always be around, but they'll shrink. The other thing we're seeing is that the teams are having similar struggles, traditional teams. Because you know what agents say to me? Well, you know, I'm going to become a big boy or girl one day, and I'm going to get a team. Yeah? People say to me all the time. I'm like, what's your vision? 3 to 5 years. They're like, well, you know, I want to be top producer in my office, and I want to get a team. And I'm like, okay, cool. But what are teams in their essence?
Small brokerage.
Small brokerages. And remember, what problems do brokerages have? Profit margins and staff and space. So when you say I want to get a team, what are you getting into? A very low margin business where you're not going to make any money. Yeah? Makes no sense. Why do we want to do it? Be truthful.
Ego.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, bro. You know how many people I know sit on a panel like, yeah, I have like 30 agents. We grossed $3 million last year and they kept 200,000 bucks. I don't know about you. I don't want to be like cool, right? I want to be rich. Yeah?
Right there, I like that one.
So we're watching, they're having the similar struggles, like the same problems. I was on a call with a guy, 850 units. He made $1 million on 850 units. Now you might be like, $1 million, a lot of money. Bro, 850 units? You know how much friction that is? You know how many complaints that is? You know how many problems that is? To only make $1 million bucks? Like, come on, man. He could do, Abel can do 30 creative deals and make $1 million bucks. Just makes more sense. So the vast majority of teams, they're operating in the traditional way, okay? And they're having problems. Now, I found this stat fascinating. There's 120 brokers in the United States. 70% of them have less than 10 agents. Now, what do we know about them? A, they're not making money. We know that.
They're still in production.
They have to sell real estate. Why?
Because they're poor.
Because they don't make any money from the agents. You know what's so interesting? Almost everybody I know who has a team makes no money on the agents and has to sell real estate to make money. Which is like, you think you're getting into a position where you're gonna have leverage and time. You've created a new job where you have to manage humans that are never gonna wanna do it like you, and you have to still work. Yeah? That's called dumb. But we don't think like business people. We think like salespeople. And we're like, oh my God, you're gonna give me a little stupid award with plastic? Yeah, I'm gonna work all year for that. Yeah, instead of equity and like rev share. Like, now what we know about them, so what we're seeing, I don't know if you know this, within the last 12 months, 400 of these brokers have come to EXP. We brought on a guy from Side, $3 million in revenue, small team, like thing, fits this criteria, bam, he partnered with us for this reason. So it's a huge opportunity. And if we really study, I want to burn this into your guys' brain, okay? Now this may be, I know for most agents, once you put numbers on the screen, you like just zone out and you're not gonna look, but I'll try to make this as engaging as possible. So let's imagine, I want you to understand the economics of this. Let's imagine you have $100,000 in commissions come in a month in top line revenue, okay? You have to pay that's not real revenue, by the way, because you can't pay bills out of that. You have to pay two people first. Who? No.
Agents.
Broker and agents. Now listen to me, there are agents out there that are on 15% split that never caps. Why would they ever do that when there's a capping mechanism? Okay, so let's say you're on a 15% split. You're gonna give your broker 15 of that, 15 grand. And let's say you have the agents on a 50-50 split, which is dumb, you should never do that. Abel, we changed them to what for your agents? 65 to him. Why not? He's got all the infrastructure, he's giving the leads, he's doing everything, right? So that means 65,000's gone out the door. Here you are thinking, I got 100 grand to spend. No, you don't. Not even close. Now, that leaves $35,000 that you can actually spend. That's real revenue. But you have expenses, yes? What are the expenses that we have? Staff and admin. Now, to be operating at that level, you're gonna have to be spending money on staff and admin. We put like 10K for that. 10%. That's the economic model, 10%. Advertising and personal promotion, about 10%. Operational expenses, signs, lock boxes, all that jazz, 5 to 10,000 bucks. Bro, you know how much money that leaves you? Oh my God. But you were on a panel. This is our industry. I think it's a lack of knowing. I think it's pride and ego, but I also think about like our industry until this, like a model that gave you equity and shared money with you was developed. The currency was it was like emotional. You get all excited, bro. People see themselves in a magazine. They're like, oh my fucking God, I'm in a magazine. I'm like, bro, give me stock. Give me money. Yeah. Who gives a shit if I'm in the magazine or not?
Wouldn't you say, Aaron, like it's the only way for them to go into like more of like a CEO kind of position with real estate? Because there really is no other path unless you own a team.
That's right. I think it's a false misperception that they think it's a leveraged thing to do. Like it's the leveraged way and it's the proper way, but they'd never look at the economics. Because if I showed this to you, which I'm showing it to you now, would any of you be like, yeah, I want to do that? No, not for a second. And I need you to know, almost everybody you see on panels, this is them. Dude, I was in a mastermind with the top 250 agents in all of EXP, right? And I was running one of the masterminds. If you took the top 250 agents at EXP, they would be the 9th largest brokerage in the country. That's how many units and volume they do. You know what we all came to the conclusion? Is if you have a team, you either need to become enormous or don't do it. Like 100, like 200, like you need to become a brokerage. And the only reason to do it is to get into ancillary services because you do not make money doing this. Do you know how you make money? You own the title company, mortgage company, escrow, and you try to push it. That's the only way you make money. And you're basically signing up to have to run other businesses. Those teams that do that, those big mega agent teams, what is their lead source primarily?
Zone.
And what's happened to referral fees?
It's like 40, 45.
No, the referral fees from Zillow's gone up. Depending on price point, it's up to like 50%. So let me ask you this. Let's say that's happening. Somebody's ripping 50. You got another person in this equation, yes? Now what happens to profit margins? Bro, you're not making any money.
Have the rate a lot higher splits than they did.
Right. They don't want to admit it, but they're like 75-25. I'm like, that's dumb. What are you doing? You're losing per transaction. You're losing money per side.
But then then that like decentivizes agents from going to them. No?
Well, here's the thing. I believe, because we've proved that out, is that if you have a strong enough value proposition, Abel basically has his team, he feeds them with super high quality leads. And let me ask you a question. Do most agents want to be truthfully in their hearts? Independent of what they say out loud, independent of what they post on Instagram. Do they want to be fed or do they want to hunt? 100 million %. So he's able to hand them these leads, right? And they're able to make more and use all of his staff and all of his systems. But the only way that would have worked is with me and him working on changing his splits. It's the only way it worked. And we hopped on a call. I'm like, what are your splits right now? He told me. I'm like, nope. He's like, what do they have to be? I'm like, what were they?
They were like 50-50 if it was a team-generated lead, and then it was like 70-30 if the agent somehow brought it to the table.
Yeah.
So I was like, for sure losing money on all the stuff they brought to the table.
Yeah.
Expenses.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Maybe breaking even on the 50-50 stuff.
So he was still doing all the deals. Do you see? He had a team. It looked cool, but the money part was off. So when we studied it, I'm like, all right, well, we need to make this 65 you, 35 them. And initially,
I was just gonna ask, what's that conversation like?
Yeah.
When you present that to the agents.
I spent a long time on it, like prepping it. So I came up with like a whole value proposition to like remind them like how much money is actually being spent on what.
Yeah.
And that was like the first few pages of their pamphlet, and then towards the end it was like, here are the new splits.
Yeah.
I offered some incentives too, so if they take listings at X% or above, they get an automatic 10% increase on top of it. And then they're getting like tiered bonuses after like 100K of company dollar.
Based on production.
100K of company dollar.
Yeah.
So they're gonna make more money than they did last year, even with these new splits.
Yeah.
The quality we're investing.
That's right. And then what we also did is it was tough, but none of them.
But it sounds like
It worked out.
He was transparent.
Super.
Totally transparent.
A little bit of resistance.
Bling, but then it was just like they thought about it and they're like, yeah.
But then recently, what did somebody say to you? One of the agents.
I also used to go on like all the appointments with them.
Yes.
Crutch.
Yeah.
Like I thought kind of in my head, I was like, well, I have a higher closing rate, so I might as well be there. But then I was driving around like the whole day. So then I was like, okay, if you want me to go on the appointment, I will, but then it's 75-25.
He's disincentivizing you to want me to be there. We do the opposite. Why? Because we're like, oh, I'm afraid there's going to be money. I'm going to lose it.
So Able is 65-35 now, and then on their own leads, like family members, referrals, things like that.
50-50.
They get 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we disincentivize. But then you had an agent tell you, I'm so glad you did this, right?
Yeah, she was like, I was scared that I was going to fail out of the business because we were on all my appointments last year and we did great. But then like I've gotten like 8 out of 8 of my last listings on the first call. So I'm so glad you like rolled this out because like now I believe myself.
Dude, do you hear what he said? You know what most of our issue is? We have no other leaders than us in our business. We don't have anybody else who's leading with us. Who's in the way of that? Yeah, so he had to get out of the way and let them step up. And they did. And even though, you know what he said to him? Hey, I'm going to give you less money. Or transaction. But you'll make more, you know what I mean? Your split's going to be less, but you actually make more long term. And they trusted him and it worked out. But that's the only way this makes sense. Do you understand? No other way. Okay? Yeah.
So do you think, like, so similar to what with EXP evolving like the brokerage model into something that makes sense and is profitable, do you see there being an opportunity to evolve the team model into something that
I think it's really hard to do. So they've kind of done that for teams in the sense, like, depending on volume, you can put agents on different caps. You can put them on like $4,000 caps, and then you can charge, like, you could tell them they're on a $15,000 cap and you keep the spread. Yeah. We have a guy also who partnered with us. He's Jeff Quinton. He's like done 5,000 transactions career, but he's also one of the only people that I know that runs a profitable team. And what he did was when he was at another brokerage, Berkshire Hathaway, Berkshire takes 10% off the top no matter what. Yeah, it's just off the top, no matter what, on all deals. So when he switched to he eventually went to KW, and then he came to EXP. He used to own part of an office like me, whatever. But like, he just kept the 10% off the top. So not only is he doing he's putting on $4,000 caps and then maybe charging him like 15 or 20, keeping the spread, but then he also gets 10% off the top. Plus he gets rev share with them, right? So now there's like more revenue streams coming in. But I've thought about that long and hard, and I don't know how they could, because there's just fixed, you know what I mean? Well, and to your point, that's what I believe, what I'm talking about is a solution. I don't know if it's like the only solution, but I do believe it is definitely a solution, which is where you make it as profitable as possible. It should be like 25, 30% profitability if you have a team, but then you start to do these other type of deals where the margin's enormous.
Are you talking about profitability after owners have been paid or before?
Yeah. So Abel, how do you view that? Before owners have been paid or after?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to look at it before, because you can take money, you can take as much as you want, right? It's your business, you own it.
Yeah.
You can take all your
salary.
Yeah.
And then you like the distribution through the profit.
Right.
Correct. And that's really the way to do it as an owner.
Yeah. So in our team, our team year to date is over 50% profit margin after we've been.
But is that after, are you pulling out your own personal production?
No, but we've never intended to do that.
I know, but the thing is if you're going to do the team, you should think about it like a separate business, separate P&L, separate everything.
Yeah.
Because what most people do is that, and they're like, yeah, we're making 50%. Bro, pull out your own stuff. See what it is. Because the goal, even though you don't want to get out of production, the only reason to do that is to make money.
Right.
You want that to be as profitable as possible. If in that other model, in this model, think about this, like really think about this. If you want to make a certain amount of money, right? You're only doing 10K on all the deals, right? If you want to make $500,000 in revenue, you only have two choices. Double the top line revenue to 2.5. More staff, more people, more friction. Or you have to open up ancillary services, own them fully, and push people to them. It's the only way to make money. That's it. Now, I believe that the solution instead, that to me sounds like too much work. Hey, if you're writing something down, a lazy mind's answer is to work harder. More sophisticated mind says, hey, what tools, what strategies, what platforms, what new skills could I learn where I could do more with less? So I believe the solution for us as agents is the following. One, that funnel I showed you, right? Dumping everything in, cash offer leads, and start doing creative deals. I mean, you've heard testimony, 60, 60, 45, we have people in the org who came to the Do More Deals Summit. One guy made 70 grand on a deal, one deal. Another one made 80. We have a woman, Aisha, bro, she's never sold more than 7 homes in her whole life. She made $30,000 on an assignment. Changed her life.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because when I talk to agents about learning more about wholesaling and creative, there's a roadblock. They're like, I can't learn this because I'm heavily focused on getting really good at listings. And I can't wrap my head around how to get them to see that that's going to help them convert more when they're at the listings. But they're very laser focused.
Yes, you raised your hand because I think you want to speak to that.
Remember you said earlier about pain and pleasure? Mm-hmm. They're going to figure out if they keep losing deals. Maybe I should go talk to her.
Yeah, but I think to your point, it's because they're thinking, again, like salespeople. I also think the loudest voices in our space that are the gurus, people who haven't sold real estate for 50 years or somebody who never did. What happens is nobody's talking about this. Pace Morby, the actual guy, Pace, okay? Dope dude, came to our event. He's coming next year, which is awesome. I told him, because we were on a call one time and I was he asked me to be on his wholesale hotline. And how that happened was wild, because people have asked me, bro, how'd you get Pace there? People got to pay him a bunch of money to come, right? I'm like, well, he liked me on Instagram. He did, he followed me. And then, and what I said was, hey, it's important to respond and it not be a chatbot. I was like, hey, thanks for the follow. You know what I got back instantaneously? A voice memo from a guy who does $100 million a year in revenue. He's like, hey, bro, I think your content's awesome. And I think you're gonna blow up. Like, we should collaborate. I was like, great, let me know when. That was on a Friday. On Monday, I'm on a wholesale, like his wholesale hotline with 800 of his community talking to him. And he said something to me on a call. He's like, why do you think our communities don't talk to each other? You know, like wholesale people, like to your point, wholesalers don't talk to agents, right? And I'm like, well, there's two reasons, in my opinion. One, you guys talk a lot of smack, right? Because when I sat down with a guy, you know, Ryan Pineda, he's a wholesaler, and me, Jose, he was kind enough, he flew out there with me, we were in Las Vegas, I was on his podcast. First thing he said, as soon as I sit down, oh, he's an agent? You know what I thought to myself? I'm like, bro, there's no need for that. Did I sit down here and I'm like, oh, you're a wholesaler? You're the guy who floods my emails with crappy deals? Or lowball offers and tries to convince me to take them? Like, there's no need for that. But the second reason is because we have the same avatar. It's a motivated seller. We're the same person that we're trying to get to. Yes? And what I told him is like, look, dude, your community can learn from my community on what to say and how to say it. So I personally coached the delis for like 2 years, 3 years. And all we did, every time we hopped on calls, she wanted to role play with me. That's it. And some of those, you said it, what'd you say yesterday? It was so good. Yeah, to Carla, my wife, it's good.
Like, I've never been with Aaron in like a personal setting, because all I know of him is like when we jump on the calls, and some days I would be like, fucking hang down. And then like he would shoot it straight. I needed that. I needed someone in my life to kind of like tell me that I needed to evolve as a person. So it was hard conversations. We cried sometimes. We role played. I was pissed, and I just kept coming back.
Yeah, and then you took that skill. You learned how to sell, and now you apply it creatively. But you can do both now.
Well, I actually went through like I was with you, and then I transitioned to but we fought a little. You fought me on this.
I did initially.
I want to transition to doing like more wholesaling and investing, and like we had a little like.
Well,
and then now it was interesting because I joined Pace's program and I was with them for like a couple of years, and then now I kind of blended both worlds
together.
So when I saw you were doing stuff with Pace, I was like, this.
Yeah. Hey, just so you know, I think a sign of intelligence is changing your mind. The most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. So I'm the guy who used to rag on people for media. I used to rag on her all the time. Like doing it, whatever. Now EXP asked me to teach classes on media, like at EXPCon. I was the guy who was like, what are you doing? Now I'm like telling you guys, look, do this, right? So I think there's two reasons. One, and I told him like, look, your community can learn from my community what to say and how to say it, but my community can learn from your community on how to think creatively.
Creative finance is the greatest thing on the planet Earth. You might say no to both of these, Mr. Seller, but I just want you to know I have the buyers today.
So by sharing, it completely expands and explodes his network.